Hi everyone and welcome to Season 14, Episode 2 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, we've started the season brilliantly well, sitting in 4th position after 7 matches played. Today, we play 11th position Man City. Are they in a false position or are they actually struggling? We'll find out today in our game against them. We've also got one last transfer deal to tell you about, so let's do this. Welcome back to Truro City. So here we are, sitting 4th position in the table, which is incredible for this point in the season. 7 matches in, 16 points. We've got a game in hand over the first couple of teams as well, West Ham United, because we're playing later in the weekend than they did. So if we can get a result against Man City today, one, that will draw us back into these top 2 positions, but also it would put a huge gap between us and a few of the teams below us that are, in theory, slightly out of position. I mean, let's see. 14th placed Arsenal, 12th placed Liverpool, 11th placed Man City. Tottenham outside the top 6 as well. It's a very interesting table this early in the season. Still a long way to go. 30 games to go, basically, for this season. So there's nothing that's sorted out yet. But we find ourselves in a really good position. But I did promise you in the intro that we've got one transfer deal to look at. So let's go check that out. So the transfer deal is around this guy, Dudita, who's gone out on loan. He wanted some first-team football. We've also got the issue that his contract is running down, and we're unclear whether we're going to be able to get another work permit for him potentially. And what I would say is that his mentals are not quite strong enough to be able to cope at the level that we're playing at. So physically, he's decent. In terms of his technicals, there's some decent stuff in there, but the mentals are letting himself down a little bit. So he hasn't quite developed in the way that I really want to do. So he's now out on loan at Amiens, should I say. So we bought in a replacement, and the replacement is this guy, Jayden Braff. Bought in from Salzburg. I bought him in. I haven't loaned him in. He's a player that we've bought in. 31 years old. Cost me £15 million. But I think for 31 years old, he's got some experience about him. The leadership is reasonable. And right the way through, in terms of physicals, mentals, technicals, there's some good spots in all of that. And he will primarily cover that left-hand side. Remember, we've got Laurens. And we've also got the new guy Lax down the left-hand side as well. But Laurens can cover both sides. So if we ever need to shift him over to cover a position, we've got this guy that can come in on the left-hand side. So we're well covered now in the wide areas, which is really positive. And I think this guy, whilst not being an absolute superstar, I think that he's decent. And I think he'll cover that spot pretty well. So Jayden Braff in the club, and that enables us to complete our squad. So if we go and have a look in the tactics page, pre-game today against Man City, what you'll see is that we're relatively injury-free. We've got a little bit of an issue to Morrison, but we've also got a slightly bigger issue for Thompson. So that's both of our attacking midfield players. So today, Thompson is out of the reckoning completely. So we're having to take a little bit of a gamble against Man City because it's a big game with Morrison. And after this game, we'll probably have to rest him a little bit. So that's the only major issue that we've got. Everybody else has had a little bit of game time here and there. Looking in on the schedule, you'll see that we've done brilliantly well. Of course we have. We're sitting in 4th. We lost early doors to West Ham 1-0. We've had a 0-0 draw against Palace, but we beat Arsenal, we beat Everton early. We've had decent wins against the likes of Bournemouth and Newcastle United out in the last game that we've played. We're also through in the cup competition. Some good stuff going on. But this next month of games is going to be tricky. We've got a newly promoted side in West Brom, but in amongst them, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, all coming up. It's going to be tricky. Some of those are sitting all of those are currently sitting behind us in the table, but it's very difficult early on to know whether that's a false dawn for them or whether actually they're going to refine some form and come back at us as the season progresses. So if we can get any form of results against these guys over the next few weeks, I will be very, very happy with that. So let's see how we get on with Man City today. Away from home, always going to be tricky, but they are struggling just a little bit. And we go in today with a team of Wendell in goal, Swan at right back, Calafiori at left back, Claridge and Colombini in central defence, Meguiri, Bechlis and Morrison in central midfield, Fernandez on the right, Lax on the left, and Abu Bakar up top, with a bench of Joan, Ionel, Silva, Marks, White, Braff and Cinerelli, who's just come back from an injury, which is why he's on the bench. Anyway, that's going to be the team. Let's go check out this game and see how we get on. So there was a lot of options in there about talking about being underdogs and huge underdogs and all that stuff. Didn't really want to use those particularly. So what I've done is I've put my hands in my pockets in terms of the gesture, very chilled out, and just said, come on, lads, show me what you can do to keep our run going. We've been on really good form. I know that Man City are huge favourites, but they are sitting mid-table, and there must be a reason for that. They must be struggling just a little bit. So we will see if we can take advantage of that. But away from home, it's going to be tricky. Early doors, 2 minutes in, we get a highlight down the right-hand side. Swan tried to whip the ball round and in behind the defence. Didn't quite get the angles right, did he? And they come back at us, but we win the ball really comfortably in defence. And again, we go early to Abu Bakar, maybe slightly too early. We need to bring the ball through into midfield and then work it from there potentially. So we'll see whether we can do that. Meguiri doing that. Betchlis on the ball. These are the types of players we want further up the pitch on the ball, which is good. Jolson Fernandez down that right-hand side, cuts the ball in, gets it back again when potentially Morrison should have probably had a shot. But we do get a go at goal. And we put it slightly over the top of the bar, unfortunately. But the signs are there that we are absolutely dominating possession just at the moment. And if we can do that for the majority of this first half, then we are in with a shout of creating a few chances, which is really positive to see at this point in the game. Obviously, Man City are very, very dangerous and will always be very dangerous. They've got the likes of Jude Bellingham in their ranks. And a couple of other very, very good players as well. So they're always going to be tricky, but half hour in, we are holding our own. And that's all we can ever ask ourselves to do, really, at this level, is to currently hold our own against this sort of big setup at Man City. They've got all the riches, everything going for them. We are still the minnows in this division in a lot of ways. I'm not necessarily sure that that's the case on the pitch anymore, though. I think we're doing pretty well this season, and I don't see that changing. Unless, of course, a loss can send us on a bit of a downward spiral with a bad run of form. But hopefully that doesn't happen, and we can keep that momentum going. Bellingham, the player I spoke about, got into the box, eventually whipped the ball across, couldn't find his partner in crime up there. And it just goes harmlessly wide in the end. But that was their one chance really in the second half to properly put us to the sword, and they didn't do it. They've had a couple more shots than we have, a little bit of a higher expected goals, the XG rating. But we've still maintained a bit of possession, which is good. And we are definitely in this game, so we can be quite encouraged by that. So we're going to go with... I think we'll be positive. I think we'll say outstretched arms. I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it going. And then when we go back in, we're going to fire them up for this second half and just see if we can keep that momentum moving forward. An early highlight, and unfortunately, we gave the ball away. And that's the sort of error that we cannot afford to do. But then they did the same. Abu Bakar holding up the ball nicely, puts it off to Jolson down this right-hand side, down the side of the box, holds up the play nicely, gets a little bit lucky there. The defender also almost took it from him. Got the first cross in, got it back again after a clearance, and Abu Bakar at the near post opens up the play, but he was offside, unfortunately. There was a simple tap in at the back post, but the whistle had already gone and Abu Bakar was already offside. Disappointing at the end of a good move, though. But again, we are still competing. We're still pushing them and still causing them problems, which is fantastic to see. It's taken us the last 3 seasons in the Premier League to properly feel at home here, really. I would say last season's 7th position finish was a real step forward and a real shout out to the rest of the division that we are beginning to gather some momentum here. Can we get into those European spots? Can we? Absolutely. Can we challenge maybe for a Champions League spot this season? We'll see. At the moment, we're in that position, but that can change very quickly. I've left it late deliberately. We were doing really well. Everybody's playing full potential, it feels like, at the moment, just to keep this going. But the last 10 minutes, maybe we can just catch them out a little bit with a couple of personnel changes, and we've got a couple of players that are looking absolutely out on their feet now. Maybe a couple of underperforming players in the attacking third as well. So we are going to take out both of these tired players. Lax comes out and the new guy Braff goes in. Beshless comes out and Marks goes in. He can play that role. Do I want him to play that role actually? Let's just check him out a little bit. Left-hand side, right-footed. So, yes, we can get him in. But what I want him to be is the inverted winger rather than the inside forward. So we are going to change that about him. Oh, I've already done that. I've already done that with him. That's fine. So he will play that role. We get to make one more change. And what we're going to do is Morrison is coping reasonably well, even though he was slightly injured before the game. We're going to take Abu Bakar out and put Signorelli in, who's just come back from a little bit of a knock, needs some game time, but is very, very important to us in terms of that striking position. And with a few minutes left, we can go into the shouts and demand more from them just to keep them up for this particular match right the way through to the end. If we can hold on for a 0-0, I'll be very happy, but you can never tell whether you're going to get sucker punched or not. It looks like we're going to hold out. And we do. It's a very, very creditable 0-0 draw, really, away from home at Man City, who seem to be just a little bit below par this season, but we caught them at the right moment, and we played pretty well. Possession was in our favour. The XG turned out to be in our favour as well. We almost caught them up in terms of shots had at goal. On target, we were better than them. Overall, I'm really, really happy with this point. It's an unexpected point at this point. For goodness sake. Too many points. Anyway, outstretched arms. Everybody thought we'd be beaten today. Well done for proving them wrong. Great result. That gets them all happy about that as well, which is really positive. And we can move forward from this point feeling pretty good about ourselves. So let's go and check out, having seen that we're now 4th in the table still, which is really good. But look how close we are. Let's go check out what we're going to be up to next episode. So, having chanced our luck a little bit and putting one of the big boys in this most recent episode against Man City, having got a really good 0-0 draw, let's see if we can come back and play a game in which maybe we stand a better chance of getting those 3 points and showing what we can actually do. And we're going to take the home match against Derby County. I know that there's at least one viewer out there, Joe, I hear you, my friend, who will be ecstatic by putting Derby County, who's his team, into the episode. So this one's for you, my friend. And we're going to come in and see whether, unfortunately for them, we can dent them as much as we possibly can. At home is a good game to happen. So we're going to come back and play Derby. And then the following episode will be the last of the calendar year against Aston Villa in the Premier League as we close out this first half of the season. So that's the next 2 episodes. Next up, Derby County. That's going to be a good game for us to play, I hope. I'm really hopeful between now and then we can take the likes of Liverpool and Tottenham on and properly give them a good go, like we did today against Man City. If I can get a couple of points here and there from those types of matches and then pick up the 3 points against the likes of West Brom, etc., I will be very, very happy with that. So come and join me next episode. I hope you will. Thank you for joining me for this one. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.